Denmark looks set to become the first country in the world to declassify being transgender as a mental disorder. Lawmakers on the country's Parliamentary Health Committee decided to change the official classification. It will be taken into effect next year, January 1st, 2017. And by doing so, Danish parliamentarians have also said that the move will put pressure on the World Health Organization, which is also yet to officially remove transsexualism from its list of mental and behavioral disorders. Probably quite shocking to a lot of people to hear that this would be the first country in the world, Denmark, setting the standard here, being a pioneer here to remove being transgender as from its list of mental disorders. We've obviously seen breakthroughs here in the US in terms of transgender rights, and yet still here in the US it's classified as gender dysphoria. So very interesting the fact that they are putting pressure now on the World Health Organization, who has yet to make changes to their own classification. Obviously, you've got groups like Amnesty International really praising this. I want to read you a quote from Danish Democrat spokesman Flemming Møller Mortensen, and what he had to say about this. He said, "We will be the first in the world to remove transgender as a diagnosis. The Health Committee has approved removing transgender from the Danish Health and Medicines Authority's list of mental disorders if the World Health Organization hasn't done so by then." So they're clearly putting that pressure on the WHO to try to declassify it as being a mental disorder.
Yeah, and it's admirable that they've done so, and they've been, to use your word, they've been pioneers in this. It's so often cited as an example, cited as a reason to deny LGBT community and transgenders specifically their rights and basic rights, by citing the fact that it's classified as a mental disorder, as you said, gender dysphoria, which is distress that someone experiences as a result of the sex they were assigned at birth. So I think that this will put increased pressure on the World Health Organization, which will be can only be a good thing. One assumes that once they have reclassified or revisited the issue, it will then increase pressure on other countries, and the United States is the one that we're principally interested in here, to actually reclassify. And that would then again bring around, in my opinion, a quantum shift in the debate. So Denmark, doing that community a great service with this decision.
Sure. Obviously, the big question here, what it comes down to is this a mental disorder? Is this a biological issue? Is there a grey area in between the two? And as you mentioned, it's classified here in the US as gender dysphoria, and it was recently relabeled. It was previously called gender identity disorder. And we know that obviously it is a biological condition. We're told it's an imbalance of hormones. It's to do with the white matter in your brain. But obviously, there is also a confusion aspect of it. There is distress as well. So there are shades of grey here, but it does seem, and as a quote from the Danish Health Committee's deputy chairman, inappropriate to call it a sickness when it is something people are born with as a biological matter of fact. Now, Amnesty International has said it's a huge step, not just for transgender people in Denmark, but also around the world. And in Denmark, they have actually said that they have run out of patients with the World Health Organization, and that is why they've chosen to go it alone.
Yeah, no, again, I mean, it's so important, these nuances and the way that we label things is so important in terms of policy, and it's so important in terms of forwarding the debate. So it cannot be underestimated, the importance of this for that community.
Well, it's being seen as another breakthrough for transgender rights and as a role model for transgender people. Denmark is set to become the first country in the world to declassify being transgender as having a mental disorder.